Hello and very warm welcome to Bharata First. You're watching Big Picture with Frank Rausen Pereira. A team of experts from South Africa and Namibia are helping to relocate a population of cheetahs to India in an ambitious restoration program. It would be the first time ever that a major predator is moved intercontinentally to re-establish a population where it had once been, and India is working hard to make sure it goes well. Now critically endangered, perhaps fewer than 50 Asiatic cheetahs are alive today and are found only in Iran. The majestic cheetah, iconic of the African bush, once roamed an area from the steppes of Turkey all the way to the dry forests and grasslands of India's western and central regions. 6 sites are being considered for the reintroduction program in India. In this edition of Big Picture, we will analyze the ambitious project of relocating cheetahs from Africa to India. Joining me on the program today are P.R. Sinha, former Director, Wildlife Institute of India, Ashok Pai, former Principal Chief Conservator of Forests, Uttarakhand, and Achintya Singh, wildlife activist and photographer. Thank you to all my guests for joining me on this edition of Big Picture. Mr. Sinha, I'd like to begin the program with you first. Let's first try and understand and analyze, because this is an ambitious project. We are going to be doing this after such a long time, so what really goes into relocating a big cat?
The basic principle of relocating a big cat back in the area where it existed earlier is to restore the habitat first to the condition when this animal was found there. That is the fundamental principle, that you address all those causes which led to its extinction from that particular zone or area, and then only you can bring back that animal there. That is the basic fundamental principle laid down by the IUCN Reintroduction Specialist Group. So whenever you propose to bring back an animal, particularly a big cat, which requires a large prey base, a large habitat, then you have to analyze all the causes which led to its extinction, systematically address those causes so that the habitat is restored back to its normal position, and then only you start planning for bringing that animal in that particular area. So that defines how you go about the reintroduction of big cats.
All right, Mr. Pai, let me bring you in now. This, like I already mentioned, is an ambitious project. We are trying to reintroduce cheetahs into India. This used to be their habitat once upon a time, but several decades now have passed since the animal has gone extinct in India. So what are some of the biggest challenges in going ahead with a project like this?
One of the problems is going to be the having an appropriate habitat for the cheetah, which is a fast moving animal which needs no obstacle sort of a grasslands in huge stretches, maybe 1,000 square kilometers or 1,500 square kilometer area, along with adequate prey base. Having said that, perhaps there are no place in this country which has such a huge tract of grasslands. Some of the best grasslands which are there in Gujarat, Rajasthan, and part of Madhya Pradesh, they are very small ones, and that is going to be the first challenge. The second challenge is going to be the community living by. They have got used to having no cheetah for last 8 decades. Now, when you reintroduce an animal, which becomes a newer challenge, communities are not prepared. They have adopted a lifestyle which is without cheetah for so many years. Hence, some of the issues which were there when the lion was reintroduced in Shivpur, Madhya Pradesh in 1904, or Chandrabhaga Sanctuary in near Varanasi in Uttar Pradesh, are bound to be there. For example, the grazing cattle, the number has gone up, and since then they are going to be intruding in some of these areas where the proposed relocation is being planned. In addition to that one, when the smaller habitats are there and the straying of animal takes place, that may kill the cattle, and then man-animal conflict will set in. and the cattle loss, etc., would be there. So, in addition, of course, the monitoring and scientific management of the species is going to be the other thing. More importantly, the African cheetah is a separate subspecies than the Asian subspecies. So the question to ask is that whether it is a good idea to reintroduce a species other than from the conservation point of view, to recreate something which doesn't belong to the habitat, indigenous habitat. These are some of the challenges which are going to come. Huge tract of grasslands with prey base. B, preparing the community and the lifestyle which has undergone change since then. C, that the livelihood of the people who would the increase in number of cattle and their lifestyle issues which would going to impact the animal, and the animal staying into that one, and then conflicts increasing, because already there are a large number of conflicts happening in the vicinity of the wildlife habitats, whether it is of the tiger or the leopard or the lion. And this would be one more thing added to the conflict issue. So these are things which have to be borne in mind. I'm sure when this is being planned now, these are adequately taken into account, and adequate measures would be put in place to address these issues, in addition to the scientific management and monitoring of the species and its viable population, which needs to be kept in there.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, Achintya, let me bring you in. So we were talking about this aspect of relocating cheetahs, and like rightly pointed out by the panelists already, this particular species is a subspecies which is not, suited or not habitual to be in India. So, what is the kind of habitat we need to create? Is there something that we need to do for them when we translocate them to India? And can they sustain? Can they thrive? I mean, how do you look at this?
Honestly, as far as it comes to creation of habitat, no place in India can match what Serengeti and Tanzania has to offer and what Namibia has to offer as the original habitat for these cats. There are Asiatic cheetahs which still are in the wild, but they are on Iran, and they are very few numbers there. It's a critically endangered species as well as in Iran. So it's highly doubtful that we are able to bring Asiatic cheetahs. The proposed location for this relocation program, which is Kuno, which is again a corridor with Ranthambore, and also a proposed site for Asiatic lions relocation project, it doesn't seem like a bright idea at all, because just in the January of 2021, the Indian caracal, which is another subspecies of the caracal found in Africa, was listed as critically endangered in India. And it actually shares habitat with the Asiatic cheetah in parts of Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh, from where the cheetah got extinct in 1947 after being hunted by Maharaja Ramanuj Pratap Singh. But the point to be majorly considered here, that a local native animal which is critically endangered is not being considered to be, there are no conservation programs or any heed being paid to the Indian caracal, while we are bringing a foreign subspecies to our land, and then thinking about allocating funds in creation of its habitat. Now the African cheetah hunts gazelles. The primary diet of it is gazelle. In India, even if we think of the chinkara as a substitute, our habitats don't have the similar density of chinkara as compared to the density of gazelles found in Tanzania or Namibia. So I think it's completely going to be a problematic situation.
Okay. All right. So since we are here then, Mr. Sinha, let's also talk about the principles of translocation really, and what goes into that as well. And because this is not the first time that a similar kind of a reintroduction has been planned. It was done during Indira Gandhi's time as well, but it did not go through at that point in time. So we are revisiting this particular aspect once again. So what are the principles of translocation?
As I have already said, the basic principle is that you have to restore the habitat so that it suits that particular species which you are bringing in there. And in India, in 2008, The tiger was reintroduced from Ranthambore to Sariska to repopulate that area because it had got locally extinct from there. And again, it was followed with reintroduction of tiger in Panna. If you look at the reintroduction guidelines, all those points which have just been raised by one of our colleagues here, they are valid. But the question is that when you don't have the best option operating in a system, then what do you do? What is the second option? So here, in case of this particular species, cheetah, it's the second option which we are trying out. Ideal option would have been to get the cheetah from Asiatic cheetah from Iran, but their numbers are just 50 and they are in fragmented habitat, and the conservationists do not approve of such actions when the particular species is on brink for trying out its rehabilitation in a new area. So that's why our negotiations with Iran could go forward. So we are going for the second option, that is the African cheetah. And as had been rightly pointed out, we don't have habitat like Serengeti, large, vast grassland areas here. So what has been done by the technical team in India on the directions of the Supreme Court, that they have identified 6 sites. And the first site, which is already ready to receive it, is a Kuno-Palpur. And in these 6 sites, you will not have self-sustaining population. That means 100 plus animals thriving in more than 1,000 square kilometer of large areas. But you will have small populations. In technical terms, it is called managing an animal as a second best option in a meta-population framework. Like the same is the case with the tiger management in Sariska. The Sariska, you can't have a self-sustaining population because of various factors which are still operating in their adjoining areas. You can't have 100 plus, 80 plus is the ideal with 1,000 square kilometer for having a self-sustaining population in case of tigers. But the question, if I can be allowed to go back into that history of reintroduction of tiger in Sariska, I will tell you the issue was very simple before the government. The state government wanted to denotify the area because the central government was insisting that you comply with all the reintroduction guidelines of the IUCN. It was not possible for the state government to comply with all the guidelines, which included relocation of the villages, which is a very, very sensitive issue. So, I mean, it was necessary to save that area from denotification. That was the driving point which necessitated this decision for reintroduction. So we got the tigers there, notwithstanding the fact that all the villages which were identified for relocation to create a suitable habitat for a thriving population were in place. We got the tigers there, and somehow, I mean, you are maintaining a small population and the area is also secured. Similar, I mean, a case is made out here also, that we have not been able to save our bunny areas, grassland areas, in spite of all the talk which we have been doing all these years. This particular exercise is, since it is bringing into, it's it's a flagship type of a species, very charismatic species. So, politicians, policymakers, people across different strata of society, they have all got interest in this particular species being brought. So the money is being made available, the political will is there, the administrative preparedness is there. That is why, and that is one of the ways to conserve whatever is left and to restore whatever you can. That is the fundamental underlying principle which finally which finally the Supreme Court also agreed to. So it is necessary. It is just definitely not the best option, but we are going for the second option. We are getting a subspecies, and from technical angle, scientific angle, for many years through deliberation, different discussions in Supreme Court, it has been discussed with the lion experts, with other cat specialist group and all, and we are doing it as a second best option so that we can conserve whatever we have in terms of the habitats and grasslands across the 6 sites which have been identified and evaluated, and to begin with, to bring the animal in Kuno Palpo.
Okay. So, a couple of points that I want to take forward with you, Mr. Pai. One, of course, is the point that Achintya was making about the habitat itself, about the grasslands and the prey as such, because we know that cheetahs love the Thomson's gazelles and impalas as well. So, do we have similar kind of prey in India? Is that something that we can provide for the cheetah to thrive and to survive with? And secondly, the issue of projects, other projects that we've undertaken with lions, with tigers, and other animals in India. How has that relocation really been? Have we seen some success there? Is that a model that can be replicated with the cheetah as well?
Let me first answer your question with regard to the suitable habitat. One of the best sites which I had visited is Velvadar National Park in Gujarat. Which has a savanna type grassland and excellent black buck population. And unfortunately, that's a very small area of 34 square kilometers. Perhaps we need something which is 50 times bigger than the Velvadar in our country, where the entire recreation of an habitat where the cheetah can live can happen. To my understanding, there are small patches across the country. There in northern Karnataka, some in Rajasthan, some in Kutch area of Gujarat, some in Madhya Pradesh, but no single piece of habitat I can say that is available, which is ideal for the cheetah to survive or sustain for long times to come. You can keep it as a slightly better version of a zoo condition sort of a thing, as a safari kind of a situation, maybe 100 square kilometers with prey base and enclosed space sort of a thing. But having it in a wilderness perhaps is going to be a huge challenge. And to me, it appears okay, as a challenge, you can take it forward. As a conservationist, you may like to do that one. But in practical sense, that may not sound very realistic. Coming back to what Mr. Achintya was saying, we have 15 cat species in Indian subcontinent. 4 have got more than adequate sort of a attention: tiger, leopard, lion, and snow leopard to some extent. Remaining 11 are nowhere on the priority, but even though some of them are critically injured, as pointed out by Achintya, with regard to the caracal. We have clouded leopard, we have jungle cat, we have fishing cat, we have Pallas cat, we have Asiatic wild cat, lynx, Asiatic golden cat, in addition to the caracal. And there are 3 small cats called leopard cat, marble cat, and the rusty spotted cat. Now, these are the kind of species which are there in Indian habitat, and they're on the verge of extinction. Perhaps it would have been a good idea to bring focus on these species rather than sort of bringing in the cheetah from elsewhere. Yes, the relocation has been met with success wherever the species exited, and the duration of that the period was not very big. For example, the Sariska or Ranthambore, the reintroduction was within a span of 2-3 years, when the entire population was wiped out to various reasons. But but the habitat did exist for conducive to the tigers, and that did help in successful reintroduction of this one. Similarly, the rhino reintroduction was attempted in Dudhwa, and to a large extent it also met with some success. But going by the conservation principles, you would agree that a mere increase in size of the habitat for rhino in Kaziranga area had led, along with the protection measures, has increased the population many times, and it's thriving well now. A similar sort of a story is happening with the Asiatic lions in Gir and adjoining areas, where the protection and the people are prepared to accept that one species. But cheetah is a big question, and that remains to be seen. To me, it is going to be a huge challenge. But yes, as a conservationist, I would like to attempt this one, and even if it fails, so be it. And we can recreate part of the habitat, but creating given the population pressure on the competing demands of the land being in picture, that is going to be unrealistic sort of a expectation to even as a conservationist, I would say that.
Okay. All right. Since we are here, then, Ajintya, let's also try and talk about and try and understand if we can take this as a learning experience, maybe try and put our best foot forward and try and, get into conservation as a whole and recreate and try and get back something that we've lost in terms of habitat as well. Is that a possibility?
See, let's talk about conservation and charismatic species. Let's talk about a little about our national animal. There have been 3 tiger deaths in the past 72 hours. 1 in UP, 2 in MP. And MP has been proposed as a new location. Kuno, they want Kuno also shares a corridor with Ranthambore, and there is tiger movement between Ranthambore to Kuno Wildlife Sanctuary. There is a tiger which came from Kuno into Ranthambore in the January of this year, has been camera trapped in Ranthambore by the WWF team working there. Again, we are talking about wanting to have African cheetahs, Asiatic lions, Bengal tigers, all in one habitat. That absolutely does not make sense. Like Mr. Pai said, we do have fragments. Vilavadar, which is the largest harrier nesting site in India, is a very beautiful place for us to have cheetahs, but sadly it's really small compared to what their original habitat is or was. And let's talk about 30% of our tiger population is actually outside tiger reserves, is in protected areas, is in corridors like Balaghat, is in corridors like Kuno. And when you launch a new project, when you bring in a new species like a cheetah, you completely change the highlight from what you are trying to conserve. It's like what you already have. Like we are a pretty biodiverse country with a lot of endangered species, and our conservation policies haven't really been doing well on them. And now we are trying to bring in a foreigner, and we try to consume we want to conserve a foreigner in our land. I don't understand what is the purpose of saving grasslands by making an African cheetah as the poster boy, while we can always work on straying tigers, we can always work on rehabilitation projects, we can always work on, instead of pushing conflict tigers to zoo, rehabilitating them, rewilding them. Leopards are at such bad state in our country. At least we have a data estimation of how many tigers are dying. There is absolutely no data estimation of how many leopards reach conflict on a daily basis in India now. And plus the 350 400 crore budget, the government recently cut up 15% funds from the forest department of a lot of states. And to be very honest with you, the forest department is highly under equipped to even manage the current amount of wildlife that it's managing. If you go and you see the extreme class 4th employee of the forest department who is working on field, who is the watcher or the chara cutter for the local elephant, they hardly have any gear on them. They many times there is non availability of a proper flashlight or proper shoes. And our policymakers slightly are thinking way beyond the capabilities that we have on our shoulder right now. And they are thinking of carrying an animal from a different continent and introducing it here. And even Africa is cut down by the equator. The amounts of sunlight that the habitat gets, the weather conditions there are very different from the weather conditions in Madhya Pradesh. I don't think that this would be a successful plan, or anyway going to be successful in the future.
Okay. All right. So we need to focus on the smaller things and try and get them right and not focus on the big ticket moves is what Achintya is suggesting. Let me be a little optimistic. I would like to see cheetahs here, hopefully, brought here in the right way, because cheetahs are my favorite animals, and if I can see them in my backyard somewhere closer to India, in India, that would be the day, and that's something that I'm rooting for. But you guys are the experts, so you would know better, and let's hope that this is a success, of course, at the end of the day. Time to get quick closing comments now from all the panelists with the best way forward, starting first with you, Mr. Sinha.
Yeah, the best way forward is already documented in the technical report 2021, which has been prepared, and all the concerns which have been voiced here, they have been taken care of. All the deficiencies which are there in other proposed sites, all the 6 sites, this are all well documented, and the roadmap is very well laid down. And hopefully, by doing that, we will not only be conserving the cheetah, which we are bringing from Africa, but also the other associated species. Whenever you bring a large cat or a large animal, an umbrella species, then you not only conserve that species, but you conserve the other associated species as well along with the habitat. So that is my comment. And I hope that the government will be able to support all the recommendations which have been given in that technical report. And since the Supreme Court will be monitoring it, hopefully the things will be in place.
All right, Mr. Pai.
I'm all for experimenting with the reintroduction of cheetah in the country, even though it's a subspecies. But I hold the view that the species which are living and endangered in India, they need to be given more focus, and I hope that the technical inputs provided by the Wildlife Institute and which has been submitted in the Apex Code would help in at least creating a pocket where the cheetah population can thrive. If not thrive, at least a small viable population would be remain there. But again, my view is that we should bring back focus on all other species of cats also, which are being neglected for long, and as a holistic conservation measure, just not focusing one odd species, which is bit of a romanticizing idea. By bringing the other species in focus, you are trying to address holistically the issues of conservation, as pointed out and Achintya, and that should be the way forward. Yes, to experiment. Yes, fine, but let's be more pragmatic and in our approach for conservation of wild animals.
All right, and Achintya, close the show for us with your quick concluding remarks.
So I think that the cheetah does not have any other prey base that it can primarily hunt apart from the Indian gazelle or the chinkara found in and around the areas that are proposed. And also, I think there will be a very tough tooth-to-tooth competition with the already critically endangered Indian caracal and the and the endangered subspecies African caracal, because it's being introduced there. So I personally feel that the cheetah will be putting more pressure on the smaller inhabitants of the grassland, like the smaller species which it will be able to hunt, which are rodents and slightly bigger rodents, thus putting pressure on the pre-existing population of the lesser cats found in the country. So I still stand by my point. I think it's a complete waste of funds, and people are thinking way out of the box by bringing an African animal to the Indian continent, while we already at home have a lot to conserve, from dugongs to snow leopards to red pandas. I think we have enough poster boys which are already existent to do conservation in India. And but well, thinking from an optimistic point of view, let's see where it goes.
Okay, all right. On that note, then I'll call it a wrap on this edition of Big Picture. Thank you to all my guests for joining me on the program and putting things into perspective for us. What's coming out of this discussion is that the translocation of the cheetah is an ambitious project, and we can see how it goes, but challenges galore. There are major constraints as far as the habitat is concerned, and finding suitable prey will also be a big factor. Another challenge will be getting locals accustomed to living with an animal they haven't seen in over 70 years. This could add another dimension to the already existing man-animal conflict. We also need to focus on indigenous wildlife and not just poster boys. We need to have a holistic conservation plan. Well, that's it from me. See you again next time. But before I leave, let me thank you once again for being here. Remember to like and subscribe to Bharata First on YouTube and also follow our social media handles. I need your support now more so than ever. Please spread the word.